everyone. My name is Olivia Jacquemart. I am a QN trainer for ViaQuest Psychiatric and Behavioral Solutions. And today, we are going to be going through key aspects of our client handbook with a focus on the client rights that we and our individuals should be aware of. So first, we have to know what we're trying to learn. And here we have our objectives. So we are going to be able to find the client handbook where it is accessible for us, as well as how to understand the client handbook. We are going to learn what the client rights are and the importance of client rights, including informed consent. And lastly, how can we discuss these rights with your client in a way that is understandable for them? But why are we going through these items and why is it important? So when your clients have the ability to understand their rights and the handbook, TBS can enhance the overall experience and success of their client. So this is really going to be through empowerment, trust and rapport building, quality of care, as well as there are ethical and legal obligations to consider for ourselves. First, how do these client rights empower our individuals? So it fosters a sense of empowerment and self-determination. By doing this, we allow clients to actively participate in the decision-making process related to their treatment. Respecting client rights enhances their participation, engagement, and ultimately their overall progress in clinical intervention. Client rights allow individuals to actively participate in decisions related to their treatment or services, which then helps promote a sense of control and self-determination. This knowledge empowers them to effectively advocate for the rights of themselves, loved ones, or even other clients. By respecting client rights, we are able to foster a trusting relationship between the client and the service provider, you all as TBS, which is crucial for effective care. By prioritizing and upholding client rights, TBS can create an environment that promotes trust as well as collaboration. When clients feel respected and informed about their rights, they're more likely to engage in treatment and then more likely to experience positive outcomes from those treatment services. And then lastly, confidentiality. This is a key client right and is also a key factor in establishing trust between a professional and a client. When clients know that their information is secure, they're more likely to share necessary details, and that can lead to more effective service provision. We will get into confidentiality more in depth as we just go through the PowerPoint. And then getting into those ethical standards as well as legal obligations. So ethics are a system of moral principles or rules that guide us in this professional context. Upholding client rights is a fundamental ethical principle in most professional fields dealing with clients. Respecting privacy and maintaining confidentiality are considered ethical standards in many professions. Violating these ethical standards can damage a professional's reputation and career. Many client rights are also legally mandated by state law, which includes here in Ohio. These laws provide legal recourse if these rights are violated. Many jurisdictions have laws and regulations that mandate the protection of certain types of information. Violating these laws can lead to severe penalties, including fines and even imprisonment. The legal considerations include federal or state laws, professional codes of ethics, and agency-specific guidelines. Client rights that are legally mandated can be found in the Ohio Administrative Code 5122-26-18. And then we have HIPAA. So HIPAA, which is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, is a federal law that sets guidelines for the privacy and confidentiality of clients' protected health information. If a client has a legal guardian, client rights, including confidentiality, can still and do apply. So it just depends on the type of guardianship a person has. The guardian's authority supersedes the individual in specific areas determined by the court, but some fundamental rights, like the right to privacy and certain procedural rights within the guardianship proceedings, remain with the individual. And here we have the policy of the client handbook, which can be found in PAYCOR. You always want to go through PAYCOR for the most updated policies, procedures, and forms. So let's look at our PAYCOR system really quickly here so we know exactly how to find these policies, procedures, and forms. So first you will need to log into the PAYCOR system, and then your screen will look like this if you're using the laptop or desktop version. You will then want to select Profile Summary on the top left side of your screen, or you can click on the profile icon in the top right and then select My Profile from there. You will then be taken to your profile, and on the left side of your screen, you will see this drop-down menu. You'll want to find Assignments, select that assignments, and then select Documents from the corresponding drop-down. Once you select Documents, the screen will look like this, and then you can find policies and forms in Resources. You can either use the search bar to look for what you need, or you can scroll through the list. You can also open the index and see the whole list of policies that you may be looking for. And we also want to be able to find the client handbook. The handbook is reviewed and revised annually, so you will always want to make sure you are working with the most updated version of the handbook. Every year it is published, TBS should be reviewing the handbook in session with clients. So how do we find the most updated version? So there are multiple ways that we can find the client handbook. First is going to be through PAYCOR, just like with the policies. And second, we can always find the client handbook in our Microsoft SharePoint. So first, we will want to log into our Microsoft 365 account, find the SharePoint app. You will then find the ViaQuest Psychiatric and Behavioral Solutions page, find the Common Forms and Documents banner, and once you click on the banner, you will be able to find the client handbook in the list of common documents. It is recommended that TBS have extra copies of the handbook with them if clients should ever ask throughout their treatment. And for our external stakeholders and clients, they can always access the handbook on our website at viaquestinc.com. Once they are on the website, they will see the core services dropdown and will want to select the behavioral and mental health option. Once they select the behavioral and mental health services dropdown, they will then see and select client forms from the list and be able to find the client handbook from the list of forms. Our client handbook can also be found in the lobby of all of our ViaQuest clinics with those client rights. And then let's talk about what is on the policy. So the policy VPBS 12.26, the client handbook, and all of this is coming directly from the policy itself. First and foremost, the handbook will be written in simple language to ensure all clients served can understand its content. The handbook will be explained to the clients being served according to the age and functioning level of the client or guardian. And the client handbook outlines multiple items that can impact your client's informed choice and services, including the services provided, the treatment risks or benefits, confidentiality and HIPAA regulations, financial obligation and fees, treatment compliance, including compliance, transition and discharge, program policies and rules, the role of the client and family in treatment, the complaint, grievance, and conflict procedures, how to report alleged abuse and or neglect to appropriate agencies, and mental health rights. Again, this is all coming from ViaQuest policy. Upon admission and annually, all clients, custodial agents, parents, guardians, and or other service team members, as deemed appropriate, will be offered the client handbook. And let's look at some important items in the handbook itself. So things that we should be highlighting for our clients and is helpful for ourselves to understand. We are going to be looking at confidentiality and HIPAA, again, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, what the role and expectations of the clients are so they know how they should be acting within services, the rights that all of our individuals have as a client of VPBS, and then how to file a complaint or grievance should they ever feel the need. And first and foremost, looking at confidentiality. So the easiest way to define confidentiality would be that it is a state of keeping information private or protecting personal information. All communication is confidential and will only be released through client or guardian consent with an ROI, that is release of information or the standard authorization form. It could be that it is federal law to be releasing information. So, according to VPBS policy 12.23, which is incident reporting and risk management, we are all mandated reporters. This means that if there is legal cause, we may need to break confidentiality to ensure safety. Legal cause to give information can include allegation or suspecting abuse or neglect, the threat of harm to self or others, a court order, or a reportable incident to ODMHAS, which is the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. If you are ever unsure regarding if something is reportable, please call your supervisor or the incident hotline at 844-487-1265. And any brief of confidentiality or HIPAA violations should be reported to the confidential compliance hotline at 1-800-268-5720. So then our clients do have a role to play when it comes to treatment services. The role of the client within treatment goes along with these expectations. The client should be active in participating in their own treatment. This includes being honest and utilizing tools given to work through issues and challenges. Some of the expectations that our clients need to be aware of is to be respectful for the TDS's time, make sure that it is a safe environment, and make sure to have all intention going toward the session. If we see some of the items that are coming directly from the handbook, during the session, there should be no use of any drugs, including smoking or drinking alcohol. And during a session, ensure that those sessions can be private with little to no visitors or noises. If able, provide a clean place for VPBS staff to sit. And let's go through the client role and responsibilities here a bit more in depth. So this is what the client should be doing and what expectations are in place for them when keeping up with treatment services. First up is respect. All TBS are entitled to be in a respectful environment where they are not discriminated against by the client. Respect includes clients keeping up with appointments. It is directly in the handbook that the client should be on time for the session. If they do need to cancel, then a 48-hour notice is needed. If it is not given, that session may be considered a no-show. If there are 2 no-shows in a 90-day period, there is a chance that the client's case may be closed and a referral for services elsewhere will be given. Next is safety. During a session, there should be pets in a safe area of the home, and PBS staff should be made aware of any unsafe things such as recent violence or illnesses, bed bugs, or other bug issues. VPBS staff may cancel and or reschedule the location of the session until the safety issue is resolved. All firearms and other weapons need to be locked up during sessions. And during a session, no use of any drugs, including smoking or drinking alcohol, as well as don't bring any alcohol or illicit drugs to a session. Then we have confidentiality. So just as we have to be confidential regarding our clients' information, other clients should also be keeping confidentiality. So individuals that are involved in group sessions are not to talk about those other clients. This helps foster a sense of community and further engagement among peers. And lastly, our clients need to be compliant with their treatment. This includes providing information about their condition, including changes in health or any reactions to medications. There is a responsibility to follow the treatment plan agreed upon by all parties and report any changes that may be needed to better suit treatment services. And all of our clients and external stakeholders, that's the individual facilities and areas that we are providing services in, are able to express complaints, conflicts, or just general unhappiness with services provided. Complaints can be given in multiple different ways. We can see the compliance officer information on the screen, as well as the complaint conflict notification form. The compliance officer is the person at ViaQuest clients or guardians would file the grievances with. This can also be done with the DHHS or the Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Civil Rights. And lastly, we need to review with our clients the mental health client rights that they are entitled to as a client in BPPS. We will be going through all the rights of our clients in just a moment. So we are going to be going through informed consent first. When we get informed consent from our client or their guardian, we are getting written permission, which allows BPPS to provide any necessary services or treatments. It is a process where a patient understands and agrees to treatment after being fully informed of their treatment options. This includes being fully informed of matters such as proposed interventions with the potential risks, potential benefits, and any available alternatives. In order to actually have informed consent, our clients and guardians should fully understand the nature of the interventions and have the chance to ask questions or express any concerns. Obtaining informed consent involves providing comprehensive information in a clear and understandable manner. This gives our clients the best chance at fully understanding their treatment options and ensures that clients can actively participate in making decisions about their treatment. When clients can make decisions about their own treatment, it provides a sense of control and autonomy that they may not have had in other areas. So then how do we discuss the handbook and the rights with our individual? It's all about being open and honest with your client about what treatment services they could be receiving. This empowers them to take more control over their treatment. And make sure to speak to your client in that plain language. Some of these items that we have gone through today are very clinical and can be difficult for some clients to understand. So again, make sure that you are speaking to your client in a way that honors their SNAP. So their strengths, needs, abilities, and preferences. We want to provide written information, especially for clients that are visual learners or may need to have that extra layer of information. We want to use active listening. Active listening includes fully focusing on our client by processing what they're saying to actively understand the message. That way we can respond thoughtfully and retain the information for later. And now we will get into the rights that our individuals have. Here's the policy itself, which we always need to be referring to when we are providing our services to individuals. Just a reminder that we can find this policy the same way that we found our client handbook policy through Paycor, the profile summary, assignment, documents, and then searching or scrolling in resources. So again, just making sure we are pulling from the ViaQuest policy, and I have highlighted a few main items to be aware of, and I am pulling these sentences directly from the policy. First, no individual, adult, or child shall have their rights violated by any agency personnel, contractors, or employees of the company. At the time services commence, individuals served will be provided with a written notice of their rights as required by state regulations. All clients are to be informed of their mental health rights at the start of services and annually. Rights will always be explained to the individual served and or their legal representative in a manner which they can understand and is meaningful to them. All TBS need to make sure their client or guardian are able to understand their rights by using any form of communication. This includes just best ways your client learns and communicates. In the event the individual served has a legal guardian, the guardian's signature is needed. So please make sure that you are not only reviewing these items with the client themselves in the best way they can understand, but you also need to make sure that the guardian knows what the rights are and have understood them fully. Next, from the policy, employees will be trained annually on the rights of individuals served. This is why we're going through this presentation today, to make sure that you are fully informed on the client rights and how we can best provide our services to our individuals. The rights of individuals served will also be reviewed with those individuals on an annual basis. I recommend making this a part of your paperwork update. That way, they will continue to be informed of what their rights are and are more likely to feel empowered to act on those rights as desired. Rights are posted in every office and within the client handbook that we provide to clients or guardians to sign off on at the beginning of treatment and review in session. The notice of rights and responsibilities of individuals served will be posted in company owned or leased service locations and will be made easily accessible to individuals and or families by providing copies when requested. Any violation or alleged violations of an individual's rights can be reported and should be reported as mandated reporters. Any violation or alleged violation of an individual's rights can be reported by calling the confidential compliance hotline at 1-800-268-5720, emailing compliance@viaquestinc.com, or completing the online form at the link you see on the screen. If you do have to report any compliance violations, you are able to stay anonymous or give your information as desired. Do not forget that we are mandated reporters. If you notice anything out of the ordinary, you have a duty to report it. And if you are ever unsure, please reach out to your supervisor or the incident hotline for further information. Next, let's look at what the actual rights are that all of our clients have while receiving services from VPBS. First, it's the right to be treated with consideration and respect for personal dignity, autonomy, and privacy. This means acknowledging their inherent worth and value as a human being, interacting with them in a way that respects their individuality and these rights, and it involves being polite, considerate, and valuing their perspectives and feelings. There's the right to reasonable protection from physical, sexual, or emotional abuse and inhumane treatment, the right to be free from financial or other forms of exploitation, retaliation, humiliation, and neglect. So we are not putting our clients in any form of danger, as well as a reminder that we are those mandated reporters and are legally required to report any suspected abuse, neglect, or trauma. There is the right to receive services in the least restrictive feasible environment. What we mean by least restrictive feasible environment refers to the setting that provides the necessary care and support while minimizing limitations, intrusions, and departures from typical living patterns. Here at VPBS, we only provide an outpatient level of care, which is the first level of care in mental health treatment. Our clients have the right to participate in any appropriate and available service that is consistent with the individualized service plan, the treatment plan, care plan. We all mean the same thing, regardless of the refusal of any other service, unless that service is a necessity for clear treatment reasons and requires the person's participation. If the client desires that service and it would be appropriate in addition to their overall health and treatment, then they have the right to add in what they desire. They have the right to give informed consent to or to refuse any service, treatment, or therapy, including medication, absent an emergency. We have already discussed informed consent earlier in this PowerPoint, so if you were unsure of what informed consent is, please go back or refer to your direct supervisor with any questions. What's important to know, again, is that the client can engage in or decline any service if they wish. The right to informed consent ensures that clients and their families have the necessary information to make informed decision about their treatment. They have the right to participate in the development, review, and revision of one's own clientized treatment plan and receive a copy of it. It is important to remember that this is their own treatment and is part of the client responsibilities to participate in their own treatment plan and come up with goals that suit their own strengths, needs, abilities, and preferences. The right to confidentiality of communications and personal identifying information within the limitations and requirements for disclosure of client information under state and federal laws and regulations. The right to confidentiality emphasizes the importance of keeping client information secure. This includes securing electronic records, using secure communication channels, and obtaining informed consent before disclosing any client information, only disclosing on a need to know and minimal necessary info basis. They have the right to have access to one's own client record unless access to certain information is restricted for clear treatment reasons. If access is restricted, the treatment plan shall include the reason for the restriction, a goal to remove the restriction, and treatment being offered to remove the restriction. If the record is not restricted for a clear, necessary reason, then they do have access to the full own record, including accessing or asking for their treatment plan, progress notes, or other documents related to their care. They have the right to be informed a reasonable amount of time in advance of the reason for terminating services or terminating participation in a service, and to be provided a referral unless the service is unavailable or not necessary. That way, this gives the client an opportunity to find another service as it may be needed. It may come to a point where you have to discharge or decline a client for services, and then the client has the right to be informed of the reason for denial of a service. That way, the client knows exactly why we are terminating services, and this helps us with our own discharge process as well. They have the right to not be discriminated against for receiving services on the basis of race, ethnicity, age, color, religion, gender, national origin, sexual orientation, physical or mental handicap, developmental disability, genetic information, human immunodeficiency virus status, or in any manner prohibited by local, state, or federal laws. It really boils down to our clients have the legal protection to not be denied any services for any reason prohibited by law. The right to know the cost of services. So we shouldn't be billing anyone unless they know what we are billing for and what that means financially. This includes billing insurance. It could even mean just telling our clients that insurance is completely covering the service. They have the right to be verbally informed of our client rights and to receive a written copy upon request. This is why we go through the client rights with our individual served. Not only is it part of our company policy, but it's one of their own rights. Our clients all have the right to exercise one's own rights without reprisal, except that no right extends so far as to supersede health and safety considerations. This is part of the reason why it can be really important to continually refer your clients to their rights, because they have the right to exercise these at their own desire and without retaliation from employees of FireQuest. They have the right to file a grievance. Grievance means a written complaint initiated either verbally or in writing by a client or by any other person or provider on behalf of a client regarding denial or abuse of any client rights. Please refer to the science slides we have talked about previously, where clients are able to receive information about filing a complaint or grievance. They have the right to have oral or written instructions concerning the procedure for filing a grievance and to assistance in filing a grievance if requested. This is part of advocating for our clients, as well as potentially skill building or even achieving independence. They have the right to be informed of one's own condition. They have a right to know what they have been diagnosed with and why they are receiving the services they are receiving. And the right to consult with an independent treatment specialist or legal counsel at one's own expense. If the client would like, they can absolutely go to another clinician, treatment team, or explore any legal recourse at their own expense. We need to make sure all of these rights that our clients have are understood by them and ourselves. And again, some things to take into consideration when you're going to be discussing these rights as they have been described to you. If you are struggling on the meaning of any of these rights, please make sure to go through this video again or refer to your supervisor for any further assistance. That way, if there are any questions from any of our external stakeholders, you are prepared and then can fully explain the rights to those individuals. Think about the client capacity. You should be communicating to your clients in a way that is understandable for them. Consider their age, level of functioning, disorders, and abilities to figure out the best way that your client can learn this information. And think about language barriers. If your client has English as a second language or struggles to process things auditorily through hearing, just make sure to have a physical copy or some pictorials ready to assist your client in best understanding. That is all I have for you today regarding our client handbook and the client rights. So do not hesitate to reach out to your direct supervisor for any questions or concerns, or watch this video again. Otherwise, have a great day.